Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here from Miss Carrie's Creations. This month I'm participating in the Best of 30 Days of Sketches series with Christy's Beautiful Life. Today is day 25 and I'm going to show you how I rotated this sketch and altered it to create an Easter scrapbook page. The sketch I'm using today is a page maps design. This website is full of all sorts of card and scrapbook sketches I love using. I have 3 Easter photos that I printed in black and white, and as you can see, these are vertical, not horizontal photos like shown in the sketch. I am going to rotate this sketch and see if it translates well into a layout. That is one of the great things about sketches. They really are just a jumping off point to help you get those creative juices flowing. I have picked a lovely floral pattern from a Cartabella collection. I love the soft florals in the corners and how this just screams spring. I am layering a sweet butterfly pattern and minty blue diamond pattern behind the photos. At first I cut these larger to match the sketch, but they took up a lot of the background, so I ended up trimming them down. In the sketch, there's a scallop border between the 2 patterns. I'm going to layer some pink ribbon here instead. Now let me bring back the sketch so we can see what other elements are here. On the left side, there's another scallop piece, and then there's a cluster of embellishments on a journal card and a little tab on the right. I'm going to go ahead and tack a few of these elements in place before I add any more to my page. So I have gone ahead and adhered the photos to some white cardstock, and I layered them onto some soft pink cardstock, which I roughed up on the edges with a distresser. When I was placing everything back down, I accidentally put the mint color on the left, which I like a lot more, so I'm just going to leave it. Now I'm going to move these items to the side and I'm going to work on some flowers for the page. I've cut out the layers for a peony from mixed media paper. And I'm going to shade these so that they match the other flowers in the background. I'm using Distress Oxide reinkers to shade the images because I want them to have a chalk-like look and I want to take advantage of the reactive properties of these inks. I have placed all of the die cuts in the order they are layered onto an old Cricut mat. This is going to help hold those die cuts in place as I shade the images. Right now I am adding quite a bit of ink to each of these layers. I have just placed a little pool of the reinker on my glass board and I'm using a brush to add color to each of the die cuts. I'm not being very precise. I'm just adding darker colors towards the center and I'm going lighter towards the edge. Now once I've added all the color, I'm going to let these sit and dry for about 5 or 10 minutes. Because I want that ink to set. Now I'm going to take advantage of the water reactive properties of this Distress Oxide ink. I'm going to drop some water in the centers of each of the die cuts, and I'm going to allow it to spread towards the edges of the petals for a few seconds. Then I'm going to blot off the water with a paper towel. I'm going to repeat this process until I get a faded, water-washed look. Once all the color has been added, I'm going to go ahead and splatter each of these petals with a little bit of ink just to give it some more texture. I am using a smaller brush to do this so that the droplets are small, and I'm only adding just a little bit to each petal. Now I'm going to bring this up to the camera so that you can see how that water reacted with the ink to create that beautiful faded look. You're also going to be able to see how the splatters added a little bit of texture. So I'm going to go ahead and grab myself a cup of coffee and allow these to dry. And then I'm going to show you how to assemble this flower and finish the layout. I have added some stitching above and below the photo frame, and then I'm going to add a pink plaid scallop strip on the left. This is something that was on the sketch, and I thought it was really cute, plus it's going to bring a little bit more pink to the page. I don't know how well you can see it, but that little fluffy she's holding is shaded pink. I was able to do this with a photo editing program that I use, and it tells the story of the day. Easter was one of the few times we had a chance to meet our niece, and she was rather scared and very shy and uncertain of who we were. She did take a liking to my daughter, but it took her some time to warm up to anyone else or even smile at any of us. When she was given that little pink fluffy, a smile peeked through, and it was so precious. So I have gone ahead and assembled that peony. There is a layering guide that came with this die set, and I had it sitting off camera so that I could figure out where all the pieces went. I did use some thinner foam tape between all of the layers to give it some dimension, and I tucked some vellum leaves underneath it to anchor it to the page. I love using vellum whenever I can. With all the other colors on this page, I was worried that if I added another color, it would look a little bit off balance. The vellum is going to allow me to add the leaf shape and some texture without adding any color to the page. Now, when we take a look at the sketch, there's a tab in this area, but I feel like this embellishment cluster already has too much going on. So instead, I'm just going to place a few little flags above the title to finish off the arrangement. I do like the idea of a tab on this page, so I'm going to cut a tab shape from this cut apart page. I rarely use cut apart pages for what they are intended, but I always love the patterns and icons on them, so I use them in tags or tabs. I'm going to place this in the upper left corner with a sticker that says family. I'm also going to tuck a little pink paper clip up there to bring some of that color to that area of the page. The butterfly paper on this layout kind of gives it that little girl feel. So I decided to bring another butterfly to the page with a sticker down by the title. I did pop this up on some foam to give it some dimension. Now I'm going to bring back that pink re-inker, and I'm going to add a few little splatters. This part always scares me because I worry that I'm going to make a mess on the page, but this didn't turn out too bad. I'm going to add some journaling to this layout, and then we'll compare this page to the original sketch. Today's sketch is a page map sketch that I altered quite a bit. Instead of vertical photos, I chose to rotate the sketch and place my photos horizontally. I used 2 pattern papers behind it in a smaller scale, and I created a circular shape with the peony and placed that title in basically the same area. I added a few little embellishments around it like the butterfly and the flags to create a nice little cluster on that side of the page. On the sketch, I liked how the 2 papers were divided with a border. And then I also added a plaid scallop on the side, just like it shows in the sketch. Even though these photos were taken at Easter, I feel like the story behind the photos was more important. So I created a page that told the story with some simple spring papers and embellishments. On this layout, I was inspired by the flowers in the background, so I replicated those flowers by creating a peony, which I shaded using some Distress Oxide reinkers. I want to thank you for joining me for another Best of 30 Days sketches. I hope this project inspired you to try something a little bit different when you are using a sketch. If you would like to see more ideas for the sketch I used today, I have put a link to the playlist in the description below. On my website, I have added some still shots for those who wish to pin them to inspiration boards. If you have any questions about the project or the supplies I used, feel free to leave me a comment below. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.